Hi Nina,
Hey Max,
what time is it?
it's coaching time.
Let's do it. Hey Nina,
Hey Max,
what time is it? No, just kidding.
it's coaching time.
Hello from Barcelona.
How are you, Max? So nice to finally record our 101 episode.
Yeah, I know, we've been trying to do this for a while. And found some time now.
Yeah, so very grateful that you spent the time with me, having a meaningful and deep conversation. So I guess
Do we ever have any other conversations?
not really.
Apart from funny. To answer your question, you asked me how am I? I guess I'm good. That's the short answer, and I think we'll dive into the long answer probably during this conversation.
Yeah, exactly. As we all know, good is not a feeling. So, okay, let's start a little bit. You moved to Barcelona 2 weeks ago. Take us,
Yeah, pretty much.
yeah, can you take us a little bit back to your first moment, kind of considering moving to Barcelona, and what kind of sparked the initial thought of going on this journey?
Yeah, I guess it takes us quite a bit back already. It takes us back to, when was it? Beginning of June, when I was filming my first documentary. Hopefully the first of many. And I came to Barcelona as part of the trip that we were filming, which started in Malaga, and then we drove along the coast up to Barcelona and met people, spent time on golf courses, spent time in nature, just reconnecting with, I guess, the inner child in a way, because I noticed only once I was in nature again. But it was a beautiful experience, and then I ended up in Barcelona, and I'll be honest, through that trip, I think I was on a very sort of positive energy and very connected to myself, very reflected, and had an absolute amazing week in Barcelona. Met some incredible people and just felt very, very much like this is a place I can imagine myself spending some more time and wanting to spend some more time too. So I guess it was a decision that it was a gut feeling that I needed to come back at some point and spend some time here. Fast forward, I'm back in London mid-June, I guess it was, and I kind of noticed that my time in London has come to an end, and not because I didn't like it. Actually, the more and more I thought about it, I love London, and London is, to a certain degree, I would say, forever going to be a home for me. But what I noticed was that I'm going on my journey of, following your heart, following my dreams, and I felt like I needed to start that journey in a different environment, because I really believe if we start something new in an environment that is very much attached to the old version of us, or the old life that we were living, I think it's very easy to fall back into old habits, fall back into the comfort of the known. So for me, it was also the fact like, okay, I'm going to start something new. I'm going to go and follow my passion, my dream. But I wanted to do it in an environment that was also new, because it meant I could, become who I wanted to be. And not that in my old environment I would have been judged, but I think sometimes we feel like we might get judged by our surrounding because they know a version of us, or they know us as a person, or who we were, what we did. So I wanted to just basically be in a new environment where I can become a version of myself that is more aligned with myself. And I felt it was easier to do that in a place where no one knows me.
Okay, interesting.
Is that a short answer?
It wasn't. But I find it very interesting what you said, because my journey was a bit different. And I guess for everyone, the journey is a bit different. And
it's super personal.
Yeah.
Tell us about your story.
No,
If you say it was so
I
different.
was reflecting to it because when I started with my journey, I was still in London. It was after COVID. And I just spent 3 months on my own. Every weekend, I was just, spending time. During the week, I was working, but every weekend, I was kind of spending time with myself. And I remember asking myself, should I maybe go or move to a different city to experience that? But I didn't. I don't know why. But it was interesting to see that I could still go on the journey in the same environment. It was obviously hard because exactly what you said, you have the same people around you and they are asking what's going on with you and what are you doing and why are you not meeting them. So I find it interesting that you said for you it was a good point or an important point to go somewhere and explore a new city and meet new people.
Yeah, I think I just had a thought when we were saying that, and it's to do with the fact that for me, I think one of my things on my journey is, I don't have to tell you that, but maybe to the listeners to put it in context, it's if you're living a little bit too much on the outside, and I know that's one of my things I'm working on is to, in a positive way, care less about others, or like care less about the opinion of others, because I need to be aligned with myself on the inside, not on the outside. And I think that's why I'm trying to get away from it. But yeah, you're right. If you can easily do it in your environment that you're in, and you can also do it because you don't have to do anything for anyone, right? You don't have to change and justify your way of going about things to anyone. Like if they have a different opinion about the way you go about things, that's okay. This thing we talked about, like, let them, if they see it different, let them. But yeah, I think for me, it was also, I don't know, it's a gut feeling, right? At the end of the day, you have to trust your gut, and my gut feeling was telling me that if I want to do this, there's a added layer of growth by going somewhere new.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's great that you're doing it. Can you describe a little bit the emotions you're going through at the moment? Obviously, there's a lot of change and transformation, personally, professionally, inside, outside.
Yeah.
So can you share a little bit about your emotions with us?
Yeah, I guess the number one feeling that I'm feeling is uncertainty. And by that, I mean that we easily live a life in certainty if we stick to our comfort zone. And by, I guess, leaving London, leaving my job, doing something that I'm quite frankly not an expert on yet, creates uncertainty and takes me out of that certainty. And that uncertainty is a feeling that sometimes can be a little bit overwhelming. And yeah, I guess that's the number one feeling I'm feeling at the moment. The uncertainty, not knowing how things will come together.
Yeah.
For me in the future. Like there's this uncertainty to me is like two sides to the medal of it, right? Like one side is the uncertainty and the fear behind it that you don't have the answers to everything, and the other side of it is I keep trying to see it also as like that means there's a million opportunities that I can find.
Yeah.
But our brain tricks us into creating fear because it wants security. It wants security for us. It wants certainty. It wants safety, comfort, answers. So it's pushing through that feeling and embracing it. And it's very difficult, I'm not going to lie. It creates a lot of moments of WTF, what am I doing here?
So how are you dealing with this uncertainty at the moment? Do you have any tools?
Yes, I have a tool. Her name is Nina. I tend to call her and seek emotional support.
You do.
Yeah. No, how do I deal with it? I I mean, that is actually true. I do get a lot of support from you, and that's amazing, and I'm very grateful for that. But I think like on the more internal side, how do I deal with it? I deal with it that the saying, like, to dance with that feeling and to embrace it, and that's definitely something I'm trying to do. But there's a but to it, and you know the answer to this also probably, or you've noticed it. It is so easy. So easy to distract yourself with things, instead of sitting with that feeling. Oh, you know what, I'll go out and I start filming another vlog, or do you know what, I'll go and meet a friend for a coffee, or I'll go and play ping pong in the evening at the beach with a friend. There's so many things you can do to distract yourself from the feelings that you're feeling and the uncertainty and the worries. So that's probably something I'm trying to embrace even more.
I would love to dive deeper into that. So when you have all those ideas of, going for coffee, meeting someone, filming another vlog, how do you make a decision in that moment if you should go for it, or if you should actually pause and take time for yourself? So you have a mix between FOMO or also self-care, like versus self-care. So can you guide us through the decision process a little bit?
Sure.
If there is one.
I was just thinking, actually, is there one? I would say, this is a difficult one actually to answer, but my initial thought was it's less a fear of missing out. It's more a fear of not moving forward. Does that make sense?
So you mean in moving forward, you actually need to keep yourself busy? Is that the connection behind it?
Exactly. Mm-hmm. That's the connection behind it. I see myself only progressing if I'm doing. And the funny thing is, which is like schizophrenia, I guess you call it. Like, I know that I will find probably more answers in stillness, because we all have the answers in us. But there's a part of me that just goes like, no, if you're not doing and creating and learning by actionism, you're failing. I think that's how drastic the thoughts are.
Okay.
And it's very interesting, actually, just to add something to that, because you have certain internal thoughts about that. And I guess the reason I go a lot into actionism and doing and creating and thinking I'm progressing or I'm doing something to move forward, it actually, people actually, the feedback I get from people is like, oh, this is all amazing, like, you're doing so much, it's crazy what you've done already. And in my head I'm just like, it's not enough, like, I need to do more because I'm not seeing the results that I need. So I go even further into more, and then at some point, it's like, imagine a wave, right? It grows, and then it just falls down. And that's sometimes how I feel. Yeah.
I mean, it's great that you take action. I think that's a big part of change, right? Often people want change, but they don't know how, and it's very hard for them to action things. Yeah. Maybe for you, is it for you more the opposite? Like, you just want to do everything at the same time and creating a lot of change while, like, actioning things?
Yeah, maybe you could call it that. I think it's more to do with the fact that, I guess it's the question now, how vulnerable I'm going to be.
I was literally reading your mind. It's like,
how much am I going to tell? How much can I tell? How much do I want to share?
Yeah.
I think it's to do with, I'm going to try and phrase it in a more holistic way. I think the actionism is a lot due to the fact that I'm searching outer validation. External validation. Because and this is where the stillness is so important, right? That you align yourself with yourself, that you actually find answers within yourself, that you don't do it for answers from others. You can only find those reasons, what you need to do, or the purpose behind it inside. You don't find that on the outside. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I know I'm not the only one who feels that way. I think like we all live in a very external world, right? I mean, the reason why are some of the biggest companies in the world all social media companies, right? Where people can share their outside. I mean, there's a reason why. So it's a way of, to a certain degree, this journey might also be a way for me to find that inner self.
yeah.
But I need to find a way to stop distracting myself from finding that answer.
Yeah. And in terms of your growth, since you're in Barcelona, what would you say? How has this move kind of impacted your perspective on life and relationships and work?
First thought that comes to my mind, and it's the move here in the last 2 weeks is definitely showed it to me even more. I think I started to notice it prior to it. I think it started with the fact when I quit or when I stopped working in my job. You always think like when I get to that point where I will be only doing what I want, I'm going to be happy. When I move to Barcelona and I'll be here, then I'll be happy.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm not happy, but you have this thought that those decisions will be the answer. And I think I'm coming to a very clear point now where I know those answers that I'm looking for, and I think those answers that a lot of people are looking for in terms of finding fulfillment and happiness, they don't come from external changes. They don't come from, I guess, external validations. They only come from internal validation and alignment with yourself. I think that's already something I've noticed really quickly, because I came to Barcelona. I've had a brilliant 2 weeks. I'm not going to lie. I had an amazing time. But the feeling inside hasn't changed. I'm still searching for the ultimate fulfillment, the ultimate purpose, the ultimate... I don't know if we'll ever find it, but like I feel like there's still some soul searching. Can you say that?
Yeah.
Finding my inner peace. I think inner peace, yeah. And the word itself, inner peace, right? You only find that peace inside. You don't find peace outside. So I feel like I'm having a little therapy session. We might have to call this, is this a podcast or a therapy? Again, part two.
Part two, yeah. I find it interesting because you often mention searching, and it always sounds like you need to find it tomorrow, and you need to find it in 3 months, or you need to find it in 6 months. Don't you think it's a process at itself for your entire life? Because sometimes we have moments where we're very happy and we're very present and we enjoy it so much, and then we achieve certain things and we move on, and then we have new goals, and we again look for this fulfillment. So I guess the question is also, how happy can you be at the moment now in what you're experiencing? Because it's a privilege, to move to a different country, meet new people, building kind of, your dreams. At the same time, it's also challenging, uncertainty, a lot of transformation. So I guess my question would be also how you kind of practice your happiness, or finding, as you call it, the fulfillment every day.
Well, it's not an easy one, is it, to find? I don't know. I think I struggle with that at the moment, to find presence in the moment. I mean, meditation and stuff like that is definitely something I'm trying to implement in my daily routines, and structure my day in a way that I don't worry about what's next, or having some structure in your life, having some routines. Because I think if you don't have a 9-to-5 job and you don't go to the office Monday to Friday, it's very easy to become a victim of life, as in like victim of no routine and chaos. So I'm trying to implement certain routines, which for me, like, gym, set certain times of the day for certain tasks, get to know yourself and know when are the times that I'm productive for work, when are the times that I'm productive for health, as in like gym, and then dedicate time each day to those things.
Yeah. I also like the fact of using attraction instead of finding, you know, like replacing finding with it. You attract happiness or fulfillment because it takes
What's
off.
the difference for you?
I think it takes off this pressure. Finding is always like you chase something so badly, and attracting is more like you still want it, you know what you want, but it's in a more, for me, it's a more calm energy.
Yeah.
It's more, I'm happy if I receive it, but if I would not receive it, I would be still happy. You know, it's like more add on to your happiness rather than I really need this and I'm chasing this. Because the moment we chase, I guess we have a very strong energy, and we kind of take also a little bit we show our bad side of ourselves a bit more, you know, because it's like I really need this to be happy.
Yeah. And how would you say one should go about in order to attract things into their life?
I mean, it sounds always too simple, but I guess sitting with the feeling and letting it go helps me a lot. And I let it go in the moments when I'm journaling or when I discuss it with, you know, close friends, certain triggers, things that might hurt me, or things I hold on too tight because I really want it. And it's good to have other person sometimes reflecting, right? And be like, hey, maybe you could just let that go for now and focus on it later on. So you shift your focus on something else. I guess that helps a lot. And also writing it down as affirmations, right? What you want to attract in your life. I guess that helps, at least for me. So
yeah, I guess I need to do that more.
You can.
It's so easy when you're in an environment where everything is new to go down the rabbit hole of all the things that might potentially go wrong rather than right.
Yeah, but do they really go wrong is the question, right?
They usually don't. No,
yeah, exactly. So
I can't remember the percentage, but I remember reading recently that like 90 or something % of our negative thoughts actually never happen.
Yeah.
So it's probably not worth wasting that much time on those concepts, and rather focus on attracting, to use your word, the positive things in your life. Yeah.
Yeah. So we spoke about, right? I asked you about the impact of, like, on your life currently. How would you describe has your move has impacted your relationships, friendships, family life? Have you reflected on this too, or is that not something you experienced? I'm just asking.
Is this a trick question, or?
No, it isn't.
No.
My intentions are only good, Max, as you know. Haven't thought about it.
I'm actually thinking about it for the first time, maybe not properly, but I wouldn't say it affected it negatively. At least that's my feeling towards it. I speak to friends, I speak to family. Only thing I would say is that there's been so much new input from the new environment that maybe time to, I don't know, let maybe people around you that are not in the city be part of everything, as I would maybe share more when I was in my usual environment. But otherwise, I would probably answer that question with no. But I would be very intrigued to hear from my friends whether there's the same opinion. But no, I don't think so. It has affected it in any way.
Okay, great. Maybe you can.
What do you think as a friend?
Maybe you can call your friends tonight and ask them.
How do you think it has affected me, or the relationships?
I don't think so. No, I think it's actually benefiting you a lot that you.
That's a very nice way to put it, actually, because I was wondering about the negative effects, and you're attracting already the positive.
No, I really think so. I
Yeah.
think it's great that you do it, and I think you need it for yourself to grow further and attract what you want in life.
Yeah.
So no, I would say I would answer the question also with no. But I guess, everyone is also very busy and, has their own things to figure out and work on. And obviously sometimes, we forget to kind of focus on the important things. So that's why it's always good to kind of, I feel for myself, to check in with my friends and sometimes ask, listen, do you think I'm a good friend to you? Is there anything you're missing? Because sometimes we don't realize we're taking a lot of space or we're not giving enough. So for me, I guess it's also important. I had my best friend over a few weeks ago, and I asked her at the dinner, I was like, what do you actually think about our friendship? Can I do something better? And she was like, Nina, you never asked me that question.
I guess people don't have those conversations, even though they're probably good conversations to have. I mean, communication is everything at the end of the day.
Yeah, exactly. And she was like, no, I don't think so, but I'm gonna sit with this thought and I'm gonna answer it. I'm gonna give you an answer on Sunday. I was like,
and did
probably.
You get an answer?
I actually said I can't wait till Sunday. Like, if there is something, I really want to know. And she was like, no, actually there is nothing, Nina. Like, I really hope that I'm a good friend to you because now, she's a mom, she has 2 kids. It's a very different life to my life. But yeah, I guess that's definitely a recommendation also for the audience, to check in with your friends and sometimes also reflecting on yourself and asking, how much am I bringing to the table? And, do I look after our friendship? And what can I do better?
Yeah, I guess it's very easy to... we all have busy lives. And it's easy to forget to maybe check in or maybe ask how is actually someone else doing. And I'm just reading this book, and one of the chapters is called No One Cares. And the reason I'm bringing this up is not because no friend cares about you, but it's actually to do with the fact... I'm just trying to link those two because, we sometimes think like our friends are constantly talking about us or thinking about what we just did. Or it says in the book, like, that we worry about something we said 4 weeks ago and we think our friends still think about that too, the way we said it or whether that impacted them. But quite frankly, everyone's so busy with their own lives that they already forgot about it. And I think to link that up is like we are all so consumed by our own lives and our own decisions we have to take every day and the things we're doing and the energy we're using to work and all those things that we easily forget to check in with friends, at least on a regular basis. And I know I'll be honest, I know there are people that I haven't checked in enough with, and doesn't feel great, but I guess the only thing I can do is check in and go into action.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think it's also a decision how you want to show up for yourself at the end of the day. You don't have to ask your friends, but if you feel like that's part of your personality and you want to be a more outstanding friend, that's where you actually go the extra mile and you take time to actually ask, because we all have a million things to do, but I think it's also about the bigger picture, like what is really important to me. And for me in my life, it's definitely friends. And also, yeah.
Yeah, I guess, we always have an action point in our podcast with our guests. Maybe this action point today is for us and maybe for our listeners to reach out to someone and just ask them how they're doing or if there's anything you can do for them or how they feel, because I think everyone appreciates if someone checks in.
Yeah. Are you reading my mind or?
Most likely.
Cool, Max. I also wanted to speak a little bit about what you're currently doing, because I and Natalie, my new flatmate, are constantly watching your new vlogs that you're releasing at the moment. So would love to hear a little bit about this and how you're feeling about it and what the purpose is behind it and whatever you can obviously share with us. But yeah, it would be great to get some insights.
I guess my everyday at the moment is waking up, going to the gym, because I love that part of my day, even though sometimes I wake up and I'm like, the last thing I want to do is go to the gym, but I know how good it is and how important health and I know my health is like the foundation of everything. So if I go to the gym regularly and work out, or go for a run, I think it sets myself up for everything else. I think a lot of people talk about that, but I really believe in that too, that this is like my core thing I need to do. And then I usually try to now take some time in the morning for myself, whether that be having a coffee, whether that be journaling, meditating. And then I tend to work, I guess you could call it. And to go back on the vlogs, kind of came out of, I don't want to say nowhere, but it was very sort of something.
It came out of nowhere, I feel.
Do you think it came out of nowhere?
Yeah, I mean, you were still in London, and out of the blue you were filming. I was like, what the heck is going on?
Yeah. Well, I always was inspired or amazed by this artist filmmaker called Casey Neistat, who was vlogging 800 plus days in a row, and I always enjoyed watching those when it's probably like 8-9 years ago. And then I thought, you know what, I'm going on a journey. I'm going on something that most likely, or not most likely, very definitely is life-changing. The decisions I've taken, the changes I've made, the places I'm going now, the things I'm starting. So I was like, it would be beautiful to, even if it's just for me, capture that and keep it as a memory, like a video diary. I guess that's at the end of the day what a vlog is. And it kind of started out with the day that I left, and then I just continued, and now I'm in this sort of position where I'm like, how long can I continue this? And it's fun. It's equally time consuming, because I'd probably say I'll spend a good 6 to 8 hours a day around that. So that's my work, I guess, right now. But the reason behind it, why I realized I'm doing it, is also it's a perfect way of learning. Every day to have a camera in your hand, and every day to sit behind a laptop and have to edit a video between 2 and, let's say, 7-8 minutes. I feel like every day I'm adding a feature, or I'm noticing something, a technology or a tool or a skill or whatever it is that I hadn't used the day before. So it's like a really nice way to get better at something that you're passionate about. And that's probably the big learning from it. And then I just feel like it became a thing where I'm trying to find something that I learned that day on a personal growth kind of standpoint. Mm-hmm. What is it that I could learn from what happened today? Whether that's something good that happened, I can include that in my everyday, or if it's something that didn't work out, and if it didn't work out, what's something that I can change the next day so it won't happen again, or I will feel better, or I will do better. I guess that's the overall purpose and idea behind it. And yeah, I'll see how long I can continue. I think we had a conversation today about it. It's been 2 weeks now, every day. It is very tiring to come up, to be creative, to think about a topic, to think about something to do, because you know what? Sometimes we just want to do nothing. Even me.
Yeah. Why don't you do a video about doing nothing? And you just film for 6 minutes and just show the same building for 6 minutes. This is me doing nothing, guys.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
I'm not going to give it away now because I want you to watch it, but I did end up thinking I'm not going to do one today, and just accept that it's okay to not do it every day, and consistency might not look like every single day. Maybe consistency is every day, including breaks for your mind. I'm really trying to see that as something that is possible and acceptable, even though right now I'm really struggling to accept that, because for me consistency is like you show up whatever fucking way you feel. Sorry for the language, but that's literally how strong I feel about it. And have a look at today's vlog tomorrow when I upload it. I think it's going to go down that route, what you just said.
Okay, I'm very much intrigued now. Maybe we can add it also into the show notes so people can watch it after this podcast. Yeah. I love what you said about the consistency, and also when we often think about it, we actually I think it's actually enough if you already show up for one thing in your day, and it could be, you go to the gym in the morning. So that's like showing up for yourself. That's the first thing where you can tick the box. That's why I always go in the morning, because I have the first achievement. And that's it for the day, and whatever comes, comes. But if you end up being exhausted by what you do and actually love, I guess that's also not feeding you, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it needs to come from an intrinsic motivation. I think like part of me is doing now, or trying to continue with the vlogs, because I feel like there's an expectation, not by the viewers, because let's go back to the chapter I was just reading in the book. No one cares, and I'll be honest, probably a few people care about it, watch it and enjoy it. But at the end of the day, if I don't upload one tonight or tomorrow, probably no one notices, no one cares. But I feel like they might, and then I feel like I failed at delivering, and my consistency is broken. Yeah.
So what is your ultimate goal with it? Where do you want to go to with this?
With the vlogs or with
filmmaking? The
filmmaking,
vlogs, or
I mean, in my head, I just want to become a good filmmaker or artist that can tell the story. And by that, I mean, I would love to work with brands. I would love to work, shoot for the stars, like companies. I would love to work for Nike.
Okay.
I would love to do something for them one day. I know it's a few days away, but that's like my North Star, to be able to be in a position where my skills and my doings are so good that I can work for those. And I think the documentary that I've done, that's like my first step towards it, and I loved it. And that documentary has a message and a purpose, and hopefully an impact on others. And I would love to do more of that. And I would love to do it not just in front of the camera, but also more behind the camera. And maybe give other people also the opportunity to tell their stories. Because I think everyone has a story, and it'd be a shame if we can't share those impactful stories with others, that even if it just changes their world or their life or their perception of the world by like 2% or 1%, I mean, that has an impact. If it happens to a lot of people, that'd be beautiful. But yeah, I don't know, it's something about, you put a camera in my hand and I get a smile. I don't know what it is. I can't even put it in words, but there is that feeling. And that's why I'm doing the vlogs, because that's for me a way of getting better every day. And maybe at some point the vlogs will have to turn into maybe something not every day, but maybe something more cinematic. Because I think like filming every day, what you do is very raw, is very, very ad hoc. It's sometimes not very planned. It's quick edits, quick transitions, just to tell a quick story of the day to keep people's attention. But maybe something a bit more deeper, with a bit more of a story behind it that is planned. And that would be my next step, I guess.
So basically going to Hollywood.
Yeah.
Next.
Yes, like my joke I made earlier, right? What are you doing here? You're not in Hollywood.
Oh, I can see that. But one question that came to my mind, because I think that will be also very valuable for our audience.
Yeah.
So you said, sometimes, you ask yourself and you're like, have this imposter of like, who would actually like to hear my story? And you said like everyone has a story to tell. So what would you recommend them? Like how, if let's say someone is not as confident to share their story, how would you motivate them to, go out with their passion and actually share their story to the world?
I don't know if I'm the right person to answer this, because I'm still finding, in this case, it is finding my story. And
but I mean more like a few months ago, you wouldn't have spoken to a camera and share what you do and be visible, including the podcast. So can you share a bit about this process?
I guess the podcast was more coming from a point of I've seen the effects coaching and therapy and growth, personal growth have had on me, and something inside of me wants to give back and share the experience, share the opportunities of finding the right coach through the podcast. So that's like a purely, I don't know, giving back sort of inspirational, helping others. That's the motivation behind it. The vlog, the film, like putting myself out there, I guess it's like, for me, it's very uncomfortable. Very uncomfortable. Like still walking down the streets with a camera the size of a suitcase nearly in your hand. It just sometimes feels a bit weird when people look at you. And yeah, it's kind of like putting myself in these really uncomfortable positions that I basically notice at the end of the day, no one actually cares. Always goes back to that.
Yeah, but
they'll turn their heads and they look at it and they don't care. And that's something that I always worry too much about, what people think about me. And by just doing that and putting myself out there, I'm noticing that it's okay. And
yeah, but that's one part of the story, right? Yeah. The second part, which I would love to go a little bit more deeper on, is if you actually feel like you want to share, like let's say you have a talent in something, writing, video editing, whatever it is, and you're afraid to put yourself out there because you have this thought in your mind, oh, no one would actually care about my content, my posts, my writing, my blog. How would you approach that?
Difficult question to answer, because I quite frankly feel that way.
But you still do it, right? Like you still put yourself out there. So there must be something in you that is still bigger than
the fear.
Than the fear, yeah. Thanks.
What is it that keeps me? Okay, let's. I have an example, right? Yesterday, the vlog I uploaded, which was about my theory of how to find your passion or how to turn your passion into your work. I really enjoyed filming that yesterday because it's something I deeply care about, because it's literally the journey I'm on. And then I finished editing it and I watched it, and there was something about it where I was like, it's like 90% right. It's not 100%. And I think I told you, I was like, I'm not going to upload this one, maybe. I don't know if I told you, but I was very much tempted to just basically keep it in my archive. And then I thought, no, this is exactly where you have to continue.
Yeah.
I honestly, I don't know if there's a technique, if it's something that you can teach someone. I
guess it's also when you want to build something that it's bigger than yourself, you just need to go for it. Like there will be always fears and like,
yeah.
I mean, I remember our first podcast recording scared the shit out of me.
Yeah, and I think
so weird. Thanks.
Yeah, and I think the more and more you do it, in the moments that you feel that fear and just accept that you're feeling that's how I felt yesterday. I was like, okay, I'm feeling fear, and I think maybe some people will say, I don't get his concept, or I don't understand what he's trying to tell me, and then I thought, but it's my story, it's how I felt in the moment and how I think people should maybe approach some of their passions. And I just thought, whatever, just put it out there. If you push through this fear now, maybe afterwards you will grow, right?
Yeah.
And that fear becomes smaller and smaller and smaller, and you grow as a creator in that case. And it's funny because I actually just opened YouTube earlier, and I'm not having big numbers yet because I started 14 days ago, but it's my most successful video so far. So it's funny, right? Like there was fear that this is not good enough.
Yeah. And
it's actually turned out to be the opposite. I mean, I haven't checked the comments, but
I think I commented on it.
I saw your comment. That's true, actually. No, I think the only thing I would say to someone who's scared of putting themselves out there, or even if it's not putting themselves out in terms of like social media or YouTube or whatever it is, like, go for a job or go for I don't know, something else in your life. that you're scared of is usually once you push through that fear, you actually realize that was something that your mind made up, and the fear isn't that big, and the things you worried about actually don't happen. And I honestly, I feel these fears every day, and I back off so many things. Like I'm by no means trying to tell everyone here that I'm doing it the right way. I have like so many things that I'm not doing because I'm feared of it, but there are certain things that I am doing, and I'm just pushing through it and accepting that there might be some negative feedback. But at the end of the day, like you said, if it's something that's bigger than yourself, or like a dream where you like, I guess I'm just thinking, you know, if the fear of, or like if the, what's the word now? Sorry. The what if, you know, what if I would have done this? Or what if that's bigger than the fear, then you just push through. And I think that's something I'm doing right now because I care so much about it and I love the idea of it and I want to get better. I want to become that person that is able to shoot, I'm just going to say it now, shoot a advertisement or a campaign for Nike or a brand that size. I mean, if I'm scared to put out a video that like 100 people watch or 200 people watch, then I'm not going to get to that big goal yet or ever. So push through.
Yeah, I agree. And also what I always think is like at the end of the day, as long as you add value for the audience, I guess that's always important, and that's what you did. So people know why they're watching something and what they can kind of expect. And also it's so nice to create something and not only consume, right? Like to actually, instead of sitting at home and watching Netflix all day, maybe not all day because people have a full-time job, but
sure,
you know, like
that consume Netflix every day.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? Like, I mean,
Yeah.
TikTok, people spend 90 minutes a day on this app, and not everyone is creating videos, you know? They're watching, they're consuming. So it's actually nice to put something out that you created, first of all, having also the courage to do it. And I always thought when I started with coaching and so on, I always thought if someone would judge me, I would be like, okay, so then you tell me what you are creating in your life, you know? Not in the sense of I'm better than you, but I felt this kind of, at least I'm trying. I don't know where it might lead me, but I'm trying to build something I'm passionate about. And I guess every person literally who puts out a video, creates an Instagram post, shares with others, for me, I really honor them in the way of like, they really try. And even if you have only 3 likes, who cares? It's okay because you did it for yourself. And as long as you add value, it's absolutely great that you're doing it.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I think also it reminds me of this speech. Unfortunately, I forgot the name. And it's bad because it's someone I should know. But, you know, it's like the man in the arena. That's the one who gets the credits. It's not the people that are in the grandstands watching. It's the person that actually has the courage to stand in the arena and fight. And I think that's the same with people going for something they care about, or like you just said, post or create, the creator.
Yeah, or even
the courage.
Yeah, or even like us, you know, working with a coach or having therapy, like even those things is something like it's a step into the right direction because you do something for yourself and you're working on yourself rather than only consuming by others, right? One question I also had with the filmmaking. So what does it mean to you to make a movie or film something?
What does it mean to me?
Yeah, it's definitely a way of how you express yourself, right? So that's why I thought, okay, what does it actually mean for you to film something or to be able to capture like a moment in a special situation, emotions, feelings with people?
Yeah, I think emotion is one word that comes to my mind immediately. Like what I want to capture emotions and share emotions. Because I think if you watch something that captured emotions, you will feel those emotions. At least that's how I feel when I watch a documentary. If I watch any sort of content that has an emotional message or a story, it touches you, right? And you feel that emotion then within yourself. So if you're watching something about someone being kind, you feel that, like, you know, heartwarming kindness yourself, because you're like, that's beautiful to see. I think that's the thing. And the other thing is with filmmaking or content creating, and I'm new to this world, right? I'm just passionate about it, but it kind of is art. It's so nice if it's well done. It's, I don't know, magical to watch something that gives you that feeling of you're part of it. Just the way it's created and documented. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like sometimes it's very difficult to describe why or how it feels while you're doing it, but I guess that's why it's an emotion. It's very difficult to put emotions sometimes into words, and it's just something that is just, I just think it's beautiful. If I see a well edited, a well filmed piece of, I was going to say content, but art, I just love it.
Yeah. You inspired me very much.
I guess to link it, it's the same with you with coaching, right? There is an emotion connected to why you love doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I love it because you can help people, and it's so nice to see how they change their life and get better, and you have an impact on them. I guess that's very important, you know.
How did you realize that, though, that's what you want to do, and that emotion?
How I realized that I wanted to do it was more a process, I guess, because I was always very curious about people, their story, how they get from A to B. And I, did a lot of mentoring in my job and leadership mentoring, and I just enjoyed it so much, and learning everything about it, also about myself. Why do I do certain things? Why do I behave in certain things in a different way? And how people communicate with each other, and how you can connect it with emotions. So yeah, it just came a little bit more naturally. And I was always this person where people came to and asked for advice, and I never understood why, because it's not that I'm God and I have the answer to everything, but I do believe I'm a good listener, and this is why I have to give myself credit for. I always try to listen to the story behind the story, actually. What was the second question, Max? I can't remember.
How you got into coaching and the emotion behind it, but I think you've answered it already, and I think it was, like you said, it's a very natural progression towards it. But you started at some point, you just noticed something you care about people, and that led you onto that path of discovering, okay, I'm going to help people through mentoring. I'm going to just listen and sit in, and then you noticed, oh, okay, I like this. I like to help people. I like how I make them feel, and how you can actually support people in making the right changes for themselves, and then you turn that into something that is a job or a business.
Yeah, and also I was reflecting on that last few weeks, actually, because it always comes down to what kind of meaning you give to certain things, right? Like your vlog, for example, like what does it mean to you? And for someone else, they might not care, but like for you, it has a big meaning because you created it. And I was thinking, actually, to be able to help and change someone else's life is so powerful in the way of the impact and the energy you bring on the table, and you help someone. I could not think of something else that makes me feel what I'm feeling in that moment, at least for myself. So it's huge, I feel. Because they will always remember you in a certain way, even if you're not going to speak to them after a coaching time, but you might meet them in 30 years and they will be like, you had such a big impact on my life. That's great.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah.
Just reminds me of, I think it was a song I just listened to recently, and there was a lyric in the lyrics it was a sentence, and I paused it and I went back and I'm like, wow, that is crazy. That's so true. And it was let me read it out to you. It was so cool. I think I wrote it down, and I think it kind of reminds me of you and your purpose and why you're doing all of this. It kind of it was actually my first thought. I'm surprised I hadn't shared it with you yet. And it's a life well lived is when I leave this world and gave more than I took.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think coaching falls into that, right?
Yeah, and not only coaching, but like everything you do, right? Coming from a perspective like, how can I serve today? But also not by forgetting yourself, obviously, because I tend to also give too much. And then I can lose myself in that kind of situation as well. So I guess it's like finding the balance as well.
Yeah. And yeah, you're right. It's not only coaching. I think there's so many, what do you call it? So many ways of giving back.
Yeah, and also the feeling to it, right? Like when you produce a vlog and you touch someone else with it, that's an emotion they're feeling, right? And that's great. So that gives you also a great feeling if they can feedback that to you.
Yeah. Like, yeah, not just to go away from the vlog. I think like there's so many films and so many
or music
movies, or imagine just all those children movies, Disney and stuff. They all have a message for a child to learn from. So by creating that, you're giving back.
I guess music is also a big part of it.
Yeah, it makes people feel something. And even if it's a sad song, I would say you're giving something, because you're making someone feel an emotion to get through that emotion, even if it's a sad feeling of grievance or sadness because you broke up with someone or you lost someone. I think it's creating something like that piece of music that someone listens to when they're like at their lowest point, but it kind of helps them to get through that. Yeah. So it doesn't matter what you're creating or what you're giving back, but I think it can always, or not doesn't matter. It's like it doesn't matter how. Like you have your way of giving back. But yeah, I really like that quote in that song, and I hit pause and I was like, wow, that's so beautiful.
And please share the quote with me.
It's in our notes. You just can't access them.
Okay, just keep it in there, and then once I see you again,
one day we'll figure this technology thing out.
Yeah. Okay, Max, what can we expect from you the next few months? Except producing more podcast episodes.
Yeah, podcasts. Yeah, we'll keep doing this. This is fun. What else am you going to expect from me? I guess. You know what? I don't know how to answer this question because I probably don't have the answer myself yet, and it's very much in the making. It's I want to film more, do more of that. I think I noticed I'm going to find some stillness. I think I need to find some stillness. Today really made me feel that it's stop running towards your goal. It's walking. You'll get there in your time. And I really, really, really need to embrace that more. And our conversation this morning made me notice that again. It's not about how quickly you get there. It's about getting there.
Yeah.
Or not even getting there, but enjoying the process, right? Enjoying the moment. This has been a very therapeutical and
yeah, I know. I was thinking
conversation. Didn't expect that at the beginning. I didn't know what to expect. I just knew you're going to ask me questions about my last 14 days. But I really appreciate this.
Thank you, Max. That's very nice. So will you once film a documentary about my life one day?
About your life?
Yeah.
I would love to. I mean, it's definitely a story to tell there.
Let's see. There's so much more to come, but yeah, maybe one day.
It'd be a shame to do it now, because I think there's so much bigger things to come for you in the future that we should definitely wait for.
Yeah. Cool. So how about we do the action points? What do you think?
Let's go for it. Do you want to go first? I mean, we had already one takeaway, right? Like one plan of action.
Yeah.
Reach out to someone and just check in with a friend, a family member. I think that's one thing for everyone to do. I will.
Yeah. I was thinking about the second one. Maybe you can create something the upcoming week for yourself or your family or your surroundings or even your neighbor. Maybe you can give something back by creating something. That can be anything. Can be even a nice post note or something like that. Yeah. What do you think?
Yeah, I guess if we're talking about this, it's about giving back to others. I think that's a nice way to do it, you know. Create something, even a letter, write a letter.
Yeah.
Send a
postcard because you don't like them.
Yeah. Don't send a postcard, just don't send it to me.
It's so funny, Max, because
no, I like postcards.
Me and my friends, we love them. We always send us postcards. I think it's so cool.
Yeah. Alrighty.
Okay, one last question from our conversation cards, as we want to have Stephen Bartlett one day on our podcast. I'm going to choose now one, Max.
You're going to choose one for me?
Yeah.
Okay.
So when it all gets too dark, what helps you find the light?
There's a few things. I think there's a few things that I could think of, and I think it's friends and family is one thing. You know, find comfort in conversations with friends, with your dear ones, your family, and I would really go as far and say meditation. Mm-hmm. I have embraced meditation as a technique or something I do when it gets too much. Yeah, I could really say it that every time I feel overwhelmed, it's something that gets me back into the presence. So those are the two things that I do. Check in with friends, ask for help from them. I think you know this sometimes when your phone rings. But yeah, also just speak to your family and, you know, notice that you're loved and needed and part of something, and then just meditate.
Nice mix.
Now you have to pull one for you.
I can't.
Why not?
No, we only do one question per podcast.
No, today's a special day. Today's our first episode again of just the two of us. So I think you have to pull one. Sorry.
Okay, let me do this. Who's your biggest fan? I guess myself first.
That's very good.
Yeah, biggest fan is so hard to answer. I think myself.
You have a lot?
Yeah.
I actually really like the answer of the biggest fan is myself. I think that's the perfect position to be in if you want to achieve something. If like you're rooting for yourself, it's I think it's the most important support you need.
Yeah.
Because that person is on that journey 24/7 with you, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Great, Max. Another episode done, right?
Yeah. Not just done. I enjoyed every minute of it.
Yeah, same. Thank you so much for sharing your journey with us. And
thank you for
being
those
so
beautiful
open.
questions.
Yeah, always.
Yeah.
Love questions.
Yeah. And I guess for our listeners out there, maybe also a thank you again for listening to this episode and hopefully getting all the way through to now. And just a quick ask, or hope you could do us a favor and hit the follow button and maybe give us a review. We'd love to continue this, and we'd love to get more people on this podcast and share their stories, hopefully impacting other people. So
yeah. Also a big thank you from my side. for each and everyone who supports us, gives feedback. It's so nice to have you. And I remember when we started, we just said if it would only have one person, we are already successful. So yeah, if you like to share episodes because you think that will be, you know, beneficial for someone else, please do. If you have feedback, we're always happy to hear. And also if you have a guest you think should be really on our podcast, let us know. And any topics you might like, we're happy to get that sorted for you guys. And I guess that's it.
That's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Max. All the smiles to Barcelona.
Yeah, and all the smiles to London.
Bye.
Bye-bye.